You're listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy. Az agyad hangjára hallgatsz adásban. A műsor hamarosan kezdődik. Jó szórakozást!
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson, and I'm not sure about anybody else, but the star of RemFan isn't sounding so loony these days. Ha ha ha. I mean, I was getting curious, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it should be Fun Fact Friday. I wanted to come and test some viewer knowledge. Do any of you listening know where the Star of David comes from? Many might be saying to themselves right now, it's an ancient symbol, right now synonymous with Judaism. But actually, I want to correct a little bit of knowledge here. That actually wouldn't be the case. In the esoteric knowledge, if you're not aware, the first recorded instance of its association with the Jews wasn't recorded until around 1666 with the Rabbi Shabbatai, Zevi. I'm trying to get this pronunciation correct. Around when he declared himself the Messiah, and then it was largely adapted by the 1700s European Jews, likely starting somewhere around Prague. This is according to records that we currently have that have survived. Before that time, Judaism was largely represented with things and symbols like the Kiddush cup. That was sort of their unifying symbol that they centered around. The star's history, though, the star itself can be traced back to being a derivative of the Seal of Solomon. It is used mostly for decorative and mystical purposes by Muslims and Kabbalistic Jews. This is according to the Britannica definition. Only majority finds a foothold in the world with the Jewish community as we know it now around the late 1800s. We can really pinpoint the explosion of it with its adaptation on the flag at the World Zionist Congress in 1897. It's also referred to as the Star of RemFan in the Bible. God curses the ones who took upon the tabernacle of Moloch and adopted the star of their god RemFan, which ye made unto themselves. They made their own gods. You know how in that sort of, in the text, he was condemning people who make idols and worship false gods. That was just, listen, we're trying to get esoteric. We're trying to have a little bit of fun. He's referring to ancient Canaanites with that passage. Let's just brush up on some esoteric fun knowledge together. Why don't we, folks? There's so much. That's a fun way to start this episode. I could have jumped right into the Epstein Files update, but I would rather, why not just have a little fun bit of history that we can start today off with, right? It's a fun Friday. We're looking to have some vibes that are a little more playful than usual. And you know what? I loved learning today with you. That was a very fun thing that we never normally do. And you know what? Maybe I'll do Fun Fact Friday again. Maybe we'll make this like a usual habit. But you know what? In the meantime, I feel like we've done plenty of table setting. I feel like the candles are lit. We're here for Friday dinner. We are here. You're here to hear some stories. I'm here to bitch a little bit. I'm here to yap. And you know what? You know what you've come for. This is what you came for. What is that song? Is that like Selena Gomez? Is she looking at you? Is that Selena? I don't know. I'm trying to brush up on my knowledge of like the music from the 2010s because I'm making a playlist recently. Anyways, let's just jump into our first story. Enough distractions. New court documents have revealed more specific travel details regarding Jeffrey Epstein, man. This is a really sad one that apparently he had booked flights to and from Minnesota. Why? Why would he do this? It's my state. As far as I know, the only celebrity we have from here is Betty Crocker. I can't think of anyone else that's famous from this goddamn state. Judy Garland, was she on that plane?
I just want to thank you for joining us tonight here in Fox 9 and streaming on Fox Local. My name is Tim Bloss, and new tonight, Fox 9 has dug through hundreds of pages of the newest release in the Jeffrey Epstein files. And
why does this guy talk like he's on To Catch a Predator? I really like his vibe. I'll leave this in the description if anybody wants to take a look at him, but he's clean cut. He looks like the G-Man. Has anybody played Half-Life? He's got a nice suit, very Navy, but he looks like he works for his employers. He's a very mysterious fellow with a clean haircut. He looks like he's out of Mad Men.
what we've uncovered is that Epstein booked multiple flights for several women both in and out of Minnesota, all during the course of several years. Now, our Leon Purvis joins us, and Leon, run down the timeline for us tonight.
Well, Tim, what we know is from a series of emails starting in May of 2009 through January of 2015. The files indicate Epstein booked and paid for flights to New York City, Palm Beach, Florida, Paris, and Epstein's ranch in New Mexico. At least 4 women were referenced as traveling either to or from Minnesota.
I would love to say I really appreciate the DOJ for blurring my name. That was the nicest thing they could have done for me. Is I went through and I checked every email that I should have showed up in, and they did me the courtesy of making sure that my name didn't appear. It was beautiful, it was gracious, and I thank you. We really appreciate that, Cash Patel.
We are not naming these women out of respect for their privacy. The flights originated from Minneapolis and Duluth. One was a $4,000 flight from Duluth to Paris in 2010.
I remember that one.
The woman involved appeared
I was
to
7.
be in Epstein's inner circle. The most recent email we found comes from January of 2015. Epstein's accountant asked, when did a Jane Doe fly to the island? The accountant stated that the woman wasn't there for Christmas or for New Year's, and that no travel was booked except to Minnesota for Christmas.
Heck yeah.
This is notable because Epstein's Island has been reportedly known for its alleged use as a base of operations for underage sex trafficking.
No, really? Really? Wait a minute. Guys, I believe, and I'm starting to put this together through, the 3 million files that have been released, the years that we've had since he has allegedly died. I'm starting to think that Jeffrey Epstein might have been a pedophile.
Led to his arrest in July of 2019. He died in his jail cell a month later. His associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was found guilty of federal child sex trafficking and other offenses in connection to Epstein. The new files also reveal Epstein traveled to Minnesota at least once himself. A 2015 email included in the files contains an itinerary for a visit to Mayo Clinic in Rochester.
He knows the best.
Of the timeline of emails and flights on our website, fox9.com.
At least he knows the best hospitals to go to. I will say that. That is pretty cool. He's like, I know exactly which clinic to go to. The Swedish, them Somalis, them up in Minnesota. They do it right. I love when I went to an emergency room recently, and my favorite thing is when my nurse has an accent. Oddly enough, I'm just gonna be so honest with you. A lot of the people I went to high school with who want to grow up to be nurses, I wouldn't trust to give me a flu shot. I wouldn't trust them to perform like a blood withdrawal. I really wouldn't. They are some of the most, they're volleyball girls, they're giggly, they're airheaded in a lot of instances, and it's not their fault. They grew up this way. This is just how they are. They go, oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. And then that's their bedside manner. That will be the bedside manner, by the way, of Gen Z nurses. They're going to have this sort of, I don't know, it's a kind of a bubbliness, but it feels a little forced, but it's whatever. All I'm trying to say is that, it sucks that he came to Minnesota. I hope he had a good time, regardless. Well, it sounds like he didn't come here. It sounds like he was shipping people around, which I only met him once. That's all I'm going to say. That sucks, but okay. Anyways, if you don't know who Jake Lang is, ladies and gentlemen, he is an influencer, and he has been arrested in Minnesota after he damaged a sculpture that said "Prosecute ICE" at the Minnesota State Capitol. The sculpture, it was permitted to display at the Capitol, and Lang was seen kicking parts of the display down. Lang has been booked in Ramsey County Jail on suspicion of criminal damage to property. Yeah, dude, throw the book at this fucking goon. Honestly, it's like they claim, oh, the right, we're so much better. You don't see us you don't see us with violent protests. You don't see us busting shit up. I'm like, this is exactly, you guys, you remember when you were pissed because that one lady kicked over a couple Charlie Kirk candle displays or whatever back right after he got shot? That's what you guys were all mad about. This guy's basically doing the same level of shit where he's disrespecting this thing that someone clearly paid a lot of money for. He's breaking it. He's vandalizing it. Throw the fucking book at this this guy.
This morning, a right-wing influencer facing charges for his latest offense here in Minnesota.
Jake Lang was booked into the Ramsey County Jail yesterday after the 30-year-old posted a video to social media. It showed himself destroying an ice sculpture just hours after it was unveiled at the state capitol. And here's what the sculpture looked like. Lawmakers and veterans and community leaders unveiled it more than 20-foot-long frozen statement earlier in the day, this creation. It read, "Prosecute ICE." Authorities say this was a permitted display at the state capitol. Lang left the scene in a vehicle, but State Patrol says he was pulled over by a trooper and arrested. He was booked on suspicion of criminal damage to property. One of the organizers of the ICE sculpture sent us a statement saying in part, quote, "I gave 8 years of my life in service to this country, to the military. For a January 6th insurrectionist to destroy our display is an attack on the First Amendment veterans like me fought to defend." Lang was pardoned by the president last year.
Ah, interesting. I hope he's looking back at that pardon with a teensy bit of regret in his eyes. Yeah. Excuse me. This is not the only arrest that we've had in Minnesota so far. There's also been an arrest of a Minnesota activist accused of threatening ICE agents caught on camera. I actually believe that I know who this person might be. If it's the bald guy with the mustache that we've been tracking, the one who like posts videos of himself in dresses and things like that, I think it might be him. Let's take a look at this. Jesus.
A chaotic scene early this morning, just blocks from where federal agents shot and killed Epstein. Ready? Armed agents raided a Minneapolis apartment. It appears they smashed a window to get inside. Thanks for joining us. The White House says they took down a man who called for the murder of federal law enforcement officers on social media.
Yep.
Uba Ali shows us what happened.
Uba Ali! Yo, Uba Ali! She's becoming my favorite person at WCCO CBS because she has my same name, Ali, obviously, but like, Uba. I love that first name. It's my favorite. I don't know why. It's just my favorite to say. Uba Ali. Let's do it. Take it, Uba.
This is when masked federal agents with long guns make their way up to the third floor of this Minneapolis complex. And it was all caught on camera. You hear banging before you can make out a name.
Loosen the warrant! Kyle Langer, come to the door!
Minutes later, they take him away in handcuffs.
Got him.
Masked
Yep.
women, federal agents came in, and I did see them grab our neighbor.
That's a tube. I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave this in the description so you guys can watch it if you want. This guy who's like, they took our neighbor. He looks like Howard from The Big Bang Theory. The only reason I know that name is because of my fiance. But he looks like it looks like a toupee. It looks like a toupe. That's what I call it at least.
And,
but
federal agents came in, and I did see them grab our neighbor.
37-year-old Kyle Wagner, a Minnesota activist, is now charged with threatening to assault and kill ICE agents. That's according to the Justice Department.
It's not just according to the Justice Department. Actually, we can play a couple of his videos because they're egregious.
Photos taken after the arrest show Wagner in handcuffs wearing a sweater that says "I'm Antifa," which is short for anti-fascist. Prosecutors say Wagner used social media last month to get his messaging across.
No, not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore.
Here it looks like they're just going to play his videos because he's ranting, calling for people to get their guns and attack ICE. I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying this is his words. This is what he said. He said to attack people. He was calling for violence. And obviously that is against the law. We can't have that. So I'm in favor of both of these arrests. I'm cool with the fact that both of these dingbats gave me a reason to call out both sides today. This is fun. I like today.
He called for the murder of federal law enforcement officers.
He did.
He encouraged bloodshed
in
the streets of Minnesota.
Yep.
He is a domestic terrorist.
I would say this one is a little bit worse. In the facts that he called himself an Antifa general on social media. He was calling, like I said, for the direct action against the people that we don't like. He's like, hang them in the streets, take their children and kill them. It's like, Jesus Christ. He was going a little farther than, I think, kicking over an ice sculpture, which admittedly, come on, veterans. I don't know that the right side, if they claim to be the most, oh, we love the military, oh, we just get wet over flag displays and we're the real Americans and whatnot. Well, maybe don't disrespect veterans, especially when, honestly, it's the least egregious thing. It's an ice sculpture. It's actually kind of pretty. It's actually, when you looked at it when it was originally completed, I grew up in Detroit Lakes, and they make these sorts of things all the time. They grew up with like an art community, so they do these sorts of things where they carve out ice structures, or they would do snow sculptures, and they would be right around the lake where people, if you're driving down Washington Avenue and you're going around the lake drive, that kind of area next to where the pavilion, well, not the pavilion anymore, but where the pavilion was always until, they closed it down because they're going to renovate it. That area was where the ice sculptures, they would do an ice castle every year. They haven't done it for quite a few years, but it was King Izkabit's ice castle. That's, it was pretty. I'm not even going to lie. That's the sort of sculpture that they had. Admittedly, Minneapolis never does anything that cool because they're too big for that. They're too full of nonsense to actually have community cohesion and artful people in the community that actually stand out. But that's besides the point. If Fargo can't even accomplish things like that, it has to be kind of a small town energy. I'm sorry. I think I grew up with the best of what that town had to offer. But besides the point, I think that this arrest is justifiably worse than the vandalism one. Not to say the vandalism one was chill, but this one I feel is justifiably, it's get worse.
He will be held accountable. Neighbors say the response went too far, with not only one door busted, but a window shattered.
It's definitely very unsettling, You think you live in the land of the free, and it turns out you live in the land where masked gunmen can break into your building.
This all happened just blocks away from Alex.
To arrest someone who is calling for the killing of federal agents, you goons. Do you not understand the difference between the Stasi and normal police activity? And yes, I realize that we're in a gray area where there's more masked agents than we'd like. I understand that. I get that. But you cannot be comparing this to the Gestapo. It's not even close. You can't be. You cannot be. It makes your side every single time that you even try to implicate anything close to the Nazis or Hitler. You sound like a retard, and you sound like a low IQ piece of shit who doesn't understand that there is a meaningful difference. And you're never going to be taken seriously, and you're never going to win an election again. That's just a fact, and J.D. Vance will be president in 2028.
Freddie was shot and killed by Border Patrol agents in a community already on edge.
We have people who are afraid to go to a donut shop or walk into their vet clinic, fear for their lives.
Uba Ali, WCCO News.
Uba Ali.
Wagner is charged in the state of Michigan because that is where court documents say he doxed a, quote, pro-ICE individual.
Well, that's regrettable and unfortunate for him. I believe we have a little bit of commentary regarding this individual.
The Antifa general who likes to cross-dress as a woman. You might be surprised to find out he's a total nutcase, and he finally got arrested. Kyle Wagner only had to give 100 videos to the federal government for them to finally come knocking. Now, I put this camera on my face, and I upload videos of myself every single day for you guys. And I know if I ever said some shit like that, they'd come arrest my ass too, especially if the shoe was on the other foot. I'm surprised they haven't arrested Peyton Van Est. He has about 240,000 followers on Instagram, over 1 million on TikTok. He openly called for armed revolution and for people to march on Washington, D.C. in a video, a 6-minute-long rant, January 24th, I think. He also said in a video on Instagram that the only solution is a militant solution and everyone needs to get guns and learn how to use them. That's clearly incitement, wouldn't you say? See, some of these people are cringe. They're uploading themselves to these corny-ass audios, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Posting photos saying, I like my ice
crushed.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to do a whole lot. But some of these people are still equally as fanatic and insane, and they're willing to try to kill elected officials, like 26-year-old Colin DeMarco, who tried to assassinate the director of the Office of Management and Budget. We saw people smash up J.D. Vance's house with hammers, and we saw Ryan Ruth try to kill the president. I mean, these people are willing to do a lot, and when they're carrying weapons at protests and posting violent rhetoric online, they're probably going to raise the temperature for everyone.
I mean, and yes. I don't think that's hard for anybody to understand or get behind here. The files, I mean, I would say that they're shaking shit up not only in Minnesota because people are forced to react to this, quite frankly. They're forced to go, Yeah. Well, Epstein, maybe we have that going on, but man, there's riots, and damn it, gas is a little bit more expensive. There's a lot of things being shaken about in your face that you're being asked to pay attention to. And I would understand if not many people would know that in the academic world, specifically, one person was named, a prominent figure at Boston University, a dean from the institution has surfaced within the records. Curiously enough, the response to this in response to the disclosure, Boston University, it's facing a lot of more increased pressure to clarify the extent to which the interactions between the dean and Epstein happened. I think we're going to see more of this coming out about any college in general. If like we saw, he was interested in academics, he was interested in physics people, he was interested in Stephen Hawking. And I've heard so many academics talk about why he might have been interested in academics. And the consensus that I hear is physics and all of these fields of study that he was trying to pull from, all these different scientists, these big minds, whatever. He was trying to gather information, intel, not just compromise on these people. Maybe if he could, he would. But if he was not able to, he was simply trying to attain information, likely for whoever he worked. Whoever he worked for is the one who organized the science meetups, the confronting gravity conference, all those sorts of things that happen. And I think that if we want to know who that is, we never will. That's the thing. We'll never know who was behind Epstein. That's the weird part about all of this, is people want to just call it Epstein. They want to go, like we've said in the previous episode, Epstein was a Bruce Wayne figure who maybe worked with Ghislaine Maxwell, sexually abused a couple hundred girls, but knew a bunch of famous people, but that doesn't mean anything. Just because you know famous people doesn't mean that they did anything. And just because they went to your island doesn't mean anything. And just because, you have all these connections and times that you were alone and times where your emails suggest that you might have been organizing some sort of, what is a working girl in your words? No. It's just, it's coincidence. It's a bizarre, he was a freak who just, he loved making people uncomfortable. That's why you see in the photos, he was never wearing an undershirt. He would always be wearing like an unbuttoned something, but he was never wearing something that would catch his sweat. That's why it was his mystique was making people uncomfortable. That might have been it. I don't know. He was pulling all the minds that he could. And Boston University, let's look at this dean.
The name of a dean at Boston University has surfaced in the Epstein files.
First reported in BU's student newspaper, Mariette DiCristina corresponded and apparently met with Jeffrey Epstein. John Maroney is live from Boston with details. John, what are you finding out?
They say this all happened more than 10 years ago, and that dean here at BU came across Jeffrey Epstein while she was working as an editor.
I mean, it's Epstein files, right? It's probably one of the biggest talking points right now in America.
Campus reaction to emails between BU's dean at the College of Communication and alleged pedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
You need to, approach with curiosity before you go straight to judgment here.
The Daily Free Press first reported Mariette DiCristina's interaction with Epstein. At the time, she was editor of Scientific American.
I enjoy that she appears to be a woman of, let's not call it color, she is a woman of the tan, she's a woman of the sun, whatever. She looks like a woman who gets a little bit of sun. And that is exactly why so many of these students are going, we really need to consider the fact that she could have been talking for any reason. Really, she could have been in a movie with him. They could have gone to see Life of Pi together. That's their theory. That's the kids' theory, is that just because it was... Listen, I understand that men absolutely have more suspicion factor just because obviously they're more likely to be attracted to these individuals. Doesn't mean that they didn't have little boys on that island for the women to enjoy. I'm just going to say we already have confirmation that they were pulling young gentlemen as well as the young ladies at that island. They were pulling all over the country. They were grabbing little boys and little girls, and they would have them all available in a charcuterie board for these rich people. And obviously that means that the women could have been involved in this shit too. And I feel as though just because she's a woman of color, they're willing to let her have a little bit more grace than, say, if this was Dean Pelton from Community. Like, if this was a white guy, maybe a little queer-leaning, kind of like Kevin Spacey, I'm just saying I don't think he'd be getting the level of grace that this woman is.
Told the Free Press she never went to Epstein's Island, releasing this statement to us. As editor-in-chief of Scientific American, it was routine practice in her role to correspond and talk to people who reached out to the publication and expressed interest in science.
You're a part of such a big university with such a big impact on so many students, and you see these things coming out in the real world. It's important to address them and to stay on top of them.
Most of the emails are between Epstein's assistant and Christina, who was trying to find a researcher or writer for the Manhattan Wealth Manager. She apparently did go to his apartment at least once for an in-person meeting.
I'd be surprised if she stayed.
The dean's contact came after Epstein had pleaded guilty for soliciting sex from a minor. There's nothing to indicate she did anything inappropriate.
I think that we have to hold everyone accountable. Like, obviously, the fact that we're not really holding our president accountable.
They cut her off. Why'd they cut her off?
A lot of people like the dean here at BU now that the DOJ has released more than 3 million pages of the Epstein files. A lot of Boston, John Maroney, NBC 10 boss.
Yeah, what are you going to do? There's 16 more islands operating right now as we speak. There's like 4 in the Gulf of Mexico. There is more in the Caribbean islands. There is, you know, in the Sargasso Sea, there's definitely even more. In the Greek Isles, there's probably a couple. Up in the Hudson Bay, I imagine there's a few. You know what I mean? If you want that winter feel for your pedophilia, you know what I mean? I feel as though there's more. Listen. There might be whole hotel chains that are dedicated to this shit. That's what I mean, is that we only stumbled upon one of these people. You really think that these people just go cold turkey if their source for pedophilia is gone? Like, it's like your dealer for kids. Oh shit, well he got busted. Well, I guess I gotta stop. I don't think that's how these people operate. I think that actually then we only, like, Diddy's going to be out in a couple months. Is he going to just start up the operation again? I don't know. What I think is we're dealing with something where this is obviously so blatantly, this is so obviously not the only thing like this in this world. And we know that. We all know that collectively. There are little operations in Michigan that make Native women disappear off of highways and operate similar operations, and these people will never make like a salary bigger than than 6 figures. That's what I mean, is that they're willing to buy and sell people for like $300 up in the Midwest. There are Jeffrey Epstein type operations happening all over the world and all over the countries, everywhere in the universe. Unfortunately, it's sex trafficking is huge. It's one of the biggest operations we don't even know about. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that the elitists, they have creme de la creme. They have the cream of the crop. They can choose literally. It's like we as like people on the ground, maybe if you're lucky, if you're a lucky person, you have one human trafficking operation. It's like having a McDonald's in your town. You're lucky if you have a McDonald's in your town. But you know what I mean? If you're rich, like if you live in a small town, you have cable. But if you're rich, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Amazon, you have HBO Max, you have all the streaming services available, and you can go to Epstein Live, and you can go tune into that channel, or you can go to Diddy Max, or you can go to Weinstein Plus or whatever. That's what it means to be rich in this country, is to have options for your sex crimes, kind of like how the normal people have options for how they want to watch TV. That's kind of how it is. I know it's a weird way to look at it, but it's just a fact of nature. Folks, I don't know where else to go with this bit. It's true, it's factually accurate, and we'll begin to cover more as it drips out. You know how it goes. We're gonna cover our next story. Let's jump right into it. Why on earth has Kamala Harris relaunched KamalaHQ social pages? Folks, The digital war room that dominated social media during the 2024 election is back. They're here with a new name and a new mission. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, if you don't all remember, she officially relaunched her viral KamalaHQ pages as headquarters. They just called it headquarters. 6'7" for some reason on X. That's the weirdest rename that they could have chosen. I think that it's like a poll for the youth. I'm not sure. She's officially rebranded as like a content hub specifically designed to mobilize Gen Z voters ahead of the 2026 midterms. It's a partnership with progressive groups like People for the American Way, and the platform is pivoting from a campaign tool to a permanent piece of a political infrastructure aiming to keep younger voices engaged in a pro-democracy cause all year round rather than just during the election cycles. It's curious. It's interesting. We are going to review her relaunch because obviously she had to put out a marketing move. She had to put out something where she came out in a suit and she said, "We're beginning again. And obviously I have not left the fight. We are relaunching KamalaHQ as headquarters." And it was a beautiful moment for her. Let's begin.
On to other news now. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is reviving her viral KamalaHQ social media pages from the 2024 election, hoping to use it as a platform to mobilize and energize younger voters ahead of the midterms.
KamalaHQ is turning into headquarters, and it's where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great, courageous leaders,
Be they Rosa Parks. Oh, wait, she's dead. Who are they going to have on this, by the way? What great leaders, what great voices do we have in this generation? All of them are dead. Every great voice that we have, people go, "Oh, man, I read this really interesting book. It really made me think." And it's like, oh, shoot, who's the great thinker that's publishing books that's making the normal populace really think? And they'll go, "I read Green Light by Matthew McConaughey." And you'll go, what? You'll go, "You mean All Right is Play-Doh for most people?" And it's like, yeah, it's middle America. These people go to Walmart to buy fish. It's like, okay, I guess that the level of culture is declining, but you know what I mean. People read Mists of Avalon in high school. So what's it called? The level of literacy, sure, it was great when we were kids. Sure, it's kind of declined. And sure, Christopher Nolan is remaking The Odyssey, so it's going to get a couple of kids back into literature. But admittedly, they're just going to wait for him to remake the Iliad. Whatever. Kamala, take it away.
leaders, community leaders, civic leaders,
faith leaders, young leaders.
I'm really excited about it.
CBS News political director Finn Gomez joins me now. What's the goal here?
What do you have to say?
My takeaway here, Lindsay, is in speaking to Democrats today is the former vice president is trying to reemerge as a national party leader and stay in the headlines following her defeat against President Trump back in 2024.
I think that's absolutely true because she apparently is going to serve, this is according to their side, as the honorary chair emerita of the project. She won't have a day-to-day editorial control. The relaunch reunites the digital team behind the famous Brat Summer and Coconut Tree memes that defined her online presence. Jesus Christ. This is going to go so horribly. The reason that she didn't win last time is because she trusted Gen Z, a generation of people who have never meaningfully won anything in their lives. They've lived... The millennials had to grow up in the 90s with participation trophies. The Gen Zers never had a challenge in their life meaningfully. They've always been coddled to grave. They've always been... And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. They've always had Smosh videos. They all think that their experiences are unique when it's like, you all played Angry Birds, you all played Temple Run, you all played on the Wii, you all think that you had an interesting childhood when admittedly the most interesting thing about you is when you're like, my dad hit me or whatever. That's the most interesting thing that most of you have to talk about, but the majority of what you did as children has been homogenized by the internet because you all watch the same content. It's unfortunate, but it's true. I'm just talking, Gen Z doesn't know how to win anything. They're not a team what are the guys? They're coaches. They're not coaches. They're not people who sit on the sidelines drawing on the chalkboard, go you move here, you move. They're not strategists. The most strategy that these people have ever done is, like I said, it's on phone games. It's on Candy Crush. It's not complex. It's like the people who feel good after they beat Portal, and they're like, man, that was a really tough mental exercise. It's like you played a fucking video game.
This pugilistic rapid response site to counter Trump and Republicans. Frankly, the site, if you've seen, already got into it with the White House today. She's also been on a book tour across the country, and she also surprised workers at the DCC headquarters yesterday in D.C. That's the political arm of House Democrats who are on the front lines of this midterm cycle. It also keeps her in the conversation as a potential presidential contender for 2028 with other potential rivals like Gavin Newsom of California.
Gavin Moggs. I'm sorry. Gavin absolutely moggs her. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that he will be the electoral candidate as predicted by Clavicular. Am I saying I'm a fan of it? Probably not, but let's see what the New York Post has to say about this. Probably nothing good. That's my estimate because it's a conservative outlet.
Ex-presidential hopeful Kamala Harris is hip with today's youth, and nothing says that quite like using Gen Alpha slang to whip up relevance. The former Veep released a video on X announcing the rebranding of her dormant campaign account, now named Headquarters 67.
You can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great, courageous leaders. I'm really excited about it. So stay engaged, and I'll see you out there.
Harris is apparently attempting to draw the interest of young voters before the midterm elections, especially with the use of that 6-7 at the end of her handle. If you don't know what that means, I cannot help you. Ask a preteen. They're not going to tell you, but at least you'll feel geriatric for a moment there. Anyway, Mamala makes light of the whole 6-7 of it all in the bio of the X account, placing the blame on Mr. Musk himself for being forced to add the digits to her handle. Quote, Elon wouldn't give us at headquarters.
Well, wait a minute. It's your responsibility to take away whoever had headquarters first? Sorry. That's kind of a stupid name. Headquarters? Come on, think of something better. Think of something more creative. This is what I mean. This is something that like a kid would see on Nickelodeon. They'd be like, the big powerful organization is called Headquarters. Let's call it Headquarters. This is the Adventures of Pete and Pete level writing. This is millennial writing. I'm sorry. They're adopting a sharper, more aggressive tone, apparently. The feed is quickly filled with rapid response posts that mock the current administration's policies and personal style. It's a move towards high-energy trolling, often seen from her political rivals. Analysts are suggesting that this is more than just a media play. It's it's a way for Harris to maintain national visibility and build on the digital base as speculation continues to swirl about a potential return to the White House in 2028. Not going to happen. We'll see it. America spat in her face last time, and apparently she doesn't know how to take rejection because they said no, and they said no firmly, unfortunately. And I voted for her, and that's the thing, is that I was a part of the crowd that said, maybe we'll have a good run of it with Mamala and the Menards employee. I thought that maybe there would be a chance for it, but then as things go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump into the rapid fire section of today's headlines. A lot of stuff you need to know about to keep your media diet healthy. I can't write 3 to 4 paragraphs about everything, so I'm just going to review it quickly for you. Iran and the United States are resuming their nuclear talks in Oman. The United States and Iran have reopened the high-stakes diplomatic negotiations in Muscat, Oman, after weeks of heightened tensions over Tehran's nuclear programs. I mean, whatever. They're seeking a framework, maybe originally, but the Biden administration wanted to seek a framework akin to the 2015 deal. I don't know that they were going to achieve anything close to what we had beforehand. Whatever, not important. We bombed them. That's the fun thing about it. U.S. ambassador also has snubbed Polish parliament speaker over Trump's remarks. U.S.-Poland relations have hit a diplomatic snag after U.S. ambassador Tom Rose declined to meet with the Polish parliament speaker following controversial remarks praising former President Trump's approach to the national sovereignty. Warsaw, a key NATO ally, on Russia's eastern flank, reacted with irritation, framing the snub as an interference in international politics. It's just a snub. Settle. You'll be all right. A top Russian general has been shot in Moscow. The Kremlin is blaming Ukraine. That is, a high-ranking Russian military intelligence general was seriously wounded in a targeted shooting in Moscow, with the Kremlin quickly accusing Ukraine of orchestrating a terrorist attack to disrupt ongoing conflicts. Maybe, I don't know. U.S. Senator has also called for a national strike against Trump election meddling. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego, publicly urged an unprecedented national strike by the workers if former President Trump attempts to interfere with the 2026 midterm elections. I mean, might happen. I don't know. Former COVID public health officials are running for office. Oh. Is that a great idea? A former public health leader, previously prominent under the COVID-19 pandemic, is transitioning into electoral politics. Particularly gubernatorial races. Betting that their expertise and public trust can transcend partisan divides. I doubt it. There is also a debate over quantum politics as global order is feeling unstable. A major opinion piece in the Financial Times is arguing that global politics is shifting into a less predictable quantum paradigm driven by rapid change, polarization, and weakened institutions. It is highlighting how figures like Donald Trump have used disruptive tactics to challenge traditional norms, prompting scholars and policymakers to rethink crisis management and alliance frameworks in a volatile international system. Do we really make you guys that nervous? I wish we didn't. U.S. immigration enforcement is changing as protests are continuing across the country. Widespread demonstrations are also continuing, as we know, against the ICE raids, shootings of civilians. They've gripped many U.S. cities, especially Minneapolis, Portland, of course, and New York City. They're led by civil rights leaders, labor people, social organizers, arsonists. You know, it's a diverse group. I will say that. Protesters are demanding an end to the aggressive enforcement under the Trump administration. Maybe. I doubt that you'll get it. This is interesting. The DOJ and FBI have announced an arrest for the 2012 Benghazi attack. Oof. Okay. We gotta understand why Benghazi has become like it's a bit of a third rail. If you touch it, you're gonna get electrocuted. It's September 11th, 2012. A coordinated group of Islamic militants, they basically attacked a U.S. diplomatic compound and a nearby CIA annex in Benghazi, Libya. It resulted in the deaths of 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens. It was a lot of chaos. It was pretty terrifying for America. Real firestorm, though, it began when the public started to ask questions about how such a high-profile facility could have just been left so vulnerable, especially on the anniversary of such, 9/11. You'd think that we'd be a little bit more on high alert. Eventually, the talking points used by the Obama administration immediately after the attack, that's where the controversy was, it sparked up. For several days, officials, including then UN Ambassador Susan Rice, suggested that the violence was a spontaneous protest. It was sparked by an anti-Islamic YouTube video, similar to riots that were happening in Egypt around the same time. It soon became clear, though, that the administration knew almost immediately that this was a pre-planned terrorist strike. They could have known that this was on its way. Critics also accused the White House and the State Department of scrubbing the intelligence to protect President Obama's re-election narrative that Al-Qaeda was on the run. That's what he kept saying. At least his administration was saying at the time. And also, by the time that Hillary Clinton launched her 2016 presidential campaign, Benghazi was just it evolved from the city name to a shorthand for the government incompetence and the secrecy around that era. As the Secretary of State during the attack, Clinton was the primary target of the multiple congressional investigations. The focus also shifted from the security failures to the private email server. Whatever, you know all about that. Apparently, they've made an arrest regarding the 2012 Benghazi attack. So, if you didn't know about Benghazi, if you didn't know anything about it, that's the very, when your parents joke about Benghazi, it's a big Gen X term, millennial humor, whatever. Big Obama-era joke.
We have breaking news. The Justice Department leaders are making an announcement. Let's listen.
Sean Smith with the State Department. and 2 CIA contractors, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods. We have never forgotten those heroes, and we have never stopped seeking justice for that crime against our nation. In fact, from day one, Cash and Dan would sit in meetings and say, we're going to get them. And they did. Today, I'm proud to announce that the FBI has arrested one of the key participants behind the Benghazi attack. Zubair al-Bakash landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 3 a.m. this morning. He is in our custody. He was greeted by Director Patel and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. Hillary Clinton famously once said about Benghazi, what difference at this point does it make? Well, it makes a difference to Donald Trump. It makes a difference to those families. And 14 years later, it makes a difference to law enforcement who made the difference in this case. Thank you, President Trump, for supporting all of our agencies around the country and around the world. Al-Bakash will now face American justice on American soil. We will prosecute this alleged terrorist to the fullest extent of the law. He'll face charges.
You know what I've hated about the Trump administration? And listen, this is probably my biggest issue. The women have normalized wearing pantsuits, which I'm perfectly fine with, but they have normalized unbuttoning the collar like 3 buttons down to show off the crucifix. And it's so ugly, it's so slutty, it's so skanky, it's so Mar-a-Lago. And I'm sorry, I know people will go, oh, it's being anti-women to say that they shouldn't be showing off their cleavage or whatever. That's not the issue. The issue is you're doing it to go, what a good Christian I am. Or some of you are doing it to go, what a good skank I am. And admittedly, some of them they have Mar-a-Lago face, so it just doesn't look as good. But what I'm trying to say is this. I don't like that. I don't like the casualness that's being displayed by the administration. It's not just the women, but the men are also doing this. They're doing unbuttoned collars. They're not wearing ties to work. They're just like looking looser than usual. I don't like it. I don't want it to look like a Miami Beach party. I want it to look very done up. I don't want to lose the formality that we kind of had, and we've continued to have, thankfully, for the longest time.
Just related to murder, terrorism, arson, among others. Let this case serve as a reminder. If you commit a crime against the American people anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. You can run, but you cannot hide. We are immensely grateful to our partners, especially at the State Department and the CIA.
That's great.
Who lost lives in the Benghazi attack.
Get to it.
And I want to steal one of your lines. Never forget.
Ugh.
Together with
Get to
that
it.
is 2 more than the entirety of the prior administration.
Okay.
We lost 4 brave Americans in Chris, Sean, Kyle, Steve. And we
Chris, Sean,
can
Kyle,
never,
Steve.
ever forget them.
Are you going to see him in Valhalla? All right, whatever, buddy. This is pretty cool. A Super Bowl ad is calling upon Americans to stand up to anti-Semitism. This is a good ad, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch it together. I'll describe it to you. There's a boy walking down the school halls. Oh, someone smacked his backpack. Oh, they called him a loser.
Did you see that? Should we tell him? Go back.
People are laughing at him because they slapped a note to his backpack. What does it say? Uh-oh. It says, Dirty Jew.
Do not listen to that.
Oh, he covered it up with a black guy came up and covered it up with a blue Post-it note.
I know how it feels.
Why wouldn't you just take it off? Why are you doing the blue square? Share the blue square to show you care.
They're not worth it, bro.
Yeah, you're right. I was tripping.
What's your name?
Stand up to hate. Stand up to Jewish hate. Feel it. I feel it, man. Oh, this is even more interesting than standing up to Jewish hate. This is a gentleman in Florida. Not a very good friend, I don't think. He appears to, this is a horrific moment. Florida teen is laughing as one intentionally sets fire to their other friend. I'll leave this in the description because I want other people to watch it, but it appears they don't even have like a gallon. They don't have like a gas jug, it appears. It looks like they have a water gallon jug. But let's take a look at this.
Baby. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
He's tossing gas on a fire.
He wants a real Steve. He wants a real Steve.
Oh.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Get the leg. Get the leg. Get the leg. Get the leg.
Oh, he's on fire. Nope. Get all the way under. Those are good friends. The victim was apparently rushed to the hospital with second-degree burns to his right hand, leg, and bottom. He also suffered deep, full, thick burns to his lower body as a result of his friend's actions. Shocking video was an incident captured on January 11th at Kaufman's Island in Lake Kerr, about 50 miles southeast of Gainesville. Very curious. Before setting his friend ablaze, the 17-year-old boy can be heard asking, "Do you want to be set on fire?" The victim claimed that he was running away when he allegedly created a highly flammable pathway between the bonfire and his friend. Suspect was later identified as Brady Ming and was arrested by the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Ming is facing felony aggravated battery charge in connection to the fire incident. Dude, these are just kids having fun, in my opinion. These are just you gotta chill, man. You ever set your buddy on fire? That's kind of how childhood is. Childhood is setting your friend on fire. And if you don't kind of experience that at any point, if you've never dumped a bag of flour on your friend while they were holding a lighter and then just watch them explode, did you have a fun, what did you do? That's my curiosity about you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the last of our headlines that we got. Let's cover our final story. It's a bit of a doozy, and it's one that we all got to keep in our minds because maybe you'll find her in your backyard, but let's review. Oh, the latest in the Nancy Guthrie search. Feds, they made an arrest, and there is a new ransom letter. This is very curious. The new ransom note apparently claims that Nancy Guthrie is safe but scared. Uh-oh. Federal authorities have made a significant arrest. Also in the ongoing search, Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today show host Savannah Guthrie. However, the update, it's coming with a cruel twist. The FBI says that the man in custody is a grief profiteer and an imposter. Derek Colella, a 42-year-old from Los Angeles, was arrested yesterday after allegedly sending a ransom note claiming to have Nancy, but later admitted he was simply following the news and wanted to see if the family would respond. What a retard, but kind of funny, I guess, but whatever. Nancy Guthrie, according to this new ransom note, is safe but scared. Let's hear what Harvey Levin from TMZ has to say about it. Why are you interviewing him? He's in the Epstein files. Harvey Levin from TMZ is in the Epstein files, and if no one wants to address it, I will.
I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared, and they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is.
New shocking details have been revealed about the purported Nancy Guthrie ransom note by TMZ boss Harvey Levin, which was sent to the outlet 2 days after Savannah Guthrie's mom was reported missing. Levin told Fox News' Sean Hannity that the note highlighted insider details about her suspected abduction, including information about her Apple Watch and a damaged floodlight at her $1 million home. Days earlier, TMZ reported that the note provided a deadline for the ransom payment in Bitcoin for her safe return, and implied something sinister would befall Nancy if the towering sum wasn't paid. It isn't clear if the purported note sent to TMZ was the same as the ones received by local Arizona affiliates.
Is it just me, or is this story getting a lot of press coverage for something that normally never would? World press coverage. The world is currently talking about this. And this type of crime never happens. This type of crime never ever happens. Kidnaps for ransom are exceedingly rare. They are less than 0.00001%. It is very, very, very exceedingly rare. I don't know. Am I buying it? I don't think so. I feel like this is all something. There's something way deeper to all of this than we're all seeing right now.
One Arizona news anchor who saw the possible Nancy Guthrie ransom note told CNN it was clear after a couple of sentences that it might not be a hoax.
A lot of it is information that only someone who is holding her for ransom would know. Some very sensitive information and things that people who weren't there when she was taken captive would know.
Mary Coleman, an anchor for Arizona-based CNN affiliate KOLD 13 News, also revealed that the note had come via email and that police were searching for an IP address. This comes after Today host Savannah Guthrie and her siblings Annie and Cameron made a tearful appeal for their mother's safe return via Instagram on the evening of February 4th.
We are ready to talk. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen.
A purported ransom note was also sent to a local Arizona CBS affiliate, which contained details about the 84-year-old matriarch's home near Tucson and what she was wearing on the night of her disappearance. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told CBS News, although he declined to give any specifics. In a February 5th press conference, authorities revealed that there were still no suspects in the case, and that the drops of blood outside the home, visible in scene footage from News Nation, had belonged to Nancy.
Blood on the porch, that was one we did. It came back to Nancy.
The FBI also revealed that some of the notes had included a demand for money with a 5 p.m. February 5th deadline, as well as a second deadline for Monday, February 9th if the first wasn't met. According to authorities, a relative made a 911 call around noon on February 1st to report Nancy Guthrie was missing after she failed to show up for a church service.
Yeah, that's, the arrest of the imposter, it's providing something, some kind of justice. Fuck him. We're gonna throw him in jail probably. The actual search for Nancy, it's still remaining really at large. Law enforcement, they're now pivoting their full attention back to a second, more credible ransom letter that was sent to a local media outlet and TMZ. Unlike the fake text, this letter contains chilling details about the interior of Nancy's Tucson home and specific descriptions of what she was wearing the night that she vanished. Details only someone involved in her disappearance would likely know. Quote, "To those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation, we will investigate and ensure that you are held accountable." This is Hythe Jank from the FBI, special agent in charge. Arizona is saying that if you have anything about this, Tucson, Arizona, they're like, if you have any sort of information regarding this, please contact the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos. They've confirmed that the DNA testing on the blood on the porch, it matches Nancy's. Investigators are deepening the reward. It's currently on the table, a $50,000 one for any information leading to her safe return. The second deadline mentioned in the ransom notes looming is coming later this Monday. We will cover it as the situation continues to unfold. CBS News, you got anything final to update us with here?
Let's begin this morning with that new plea from Nancy Guthrie's family. The search for the 84-year-old grandmother is now on day 6. Savannah Guthrie shared a new video of her brother. He called out to the person that is holding their mom after an apparent ransom deadline came and went.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
CBS News national reporter Andres Gutierrez joins us now from Tucson, Arizona. So, Andres, what's the latest from authorities, where you are, and at this point, how many agencies are involved in the search? As you know, the President of the United States directed all police help that is required to try and find Nancy. I guess we're seeing that on the ground.
Yeah, well, Vlad, we're now 6 days into the search, and there are still more questions and answers revolve around this disappearance. The 84-year-old still, there's no person of interest, no suspect in this case. The police ended up sharing additional details about the evidence they have recovered thus far, as well as the timeline, a more detailed timeline. We now know that the blood in front of the door there at Nancy Guthrie's home is, in fact, hers.
Sucks, man. I really don't know where they're going to go from here. I don't know if they have very far to go from here, because you just have to wait for them to reach out. You just got to see if they're willing to, quite frankly. You know what I mean? How are they going to reach out to and feel safe? They're going to Instagram message you, private message you through that? I don't know. How would you, as a kidnapper, if you were a kidnapper, how would you reach out so that you wouldn't be tracked? I mean, I can't send a letter. Bitcoin is still like, there's ways to find your IP address. There's ways to, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm nervous for the family. I only best of wishes, honestly. This is a really tragic thing that's unfolding, and it sucks that we got to close out the week with it. But ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're going to power through. You're going to do a great job this weekend. You're going to have a good time. You're going to do whatever it is y'all do. We will be back at it again Monday. That's what we do. Monday through Friday. Subscribe if you would like to be there for that. Ring the bell if you want notifications. We upload every single weekday. We take Sabbath and Shabbat off. We already told you that. We love our Christendom and Judaism homies. I just hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you enjoy your Friday. You did it. You completed another week, and you did it with me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for getting your news from here. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. I will catch you in the next episode next week. In the meantime, bye-bye.